You're watching TVC Breakfast. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, an annual campaign to raise awareness about the impact of breast cancer. And this year, the theme focuses on creating bonds through friendship, because no one should fight cancer alone. Statistics disclose that 1 in every 8 women gets diagnosed with breast cancer every day. Early signs of breast cancer can be a lump in the breast, a painful breast or armpit, or a discharge from the nipple. Women are often advised to go for regular checkups so that the disease can be spotted early and treated before it deteriorates. That is the focus of our discussion in the next couple of minutes. So joining me now for more on this is a founder at Tinuke Cancer Foundation, Tinu Lawal. Tinu, good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you.
Thank you very much.
Great.
And I am a cancer survivor.
Oh, yeah. That's amazing. That's amazing. That's amazing. Your story has inspired a lot of people around those who have heard and so on. Basically, just briefly, can you tell us how did you discover it and how did you survive it?
Thank you. For me, I would say that I was very lucky. I discovered on my own. I was just in the house that day, and for some reason, I don't know what my hand went there to do, and I discovered there was a sort of lump on my breast, and which was very abnormal. I'd never felt it before. But, you know, I just thought, well, it would fizzle out. But, of course, the thought of it scared me, because I'd heard before that cancer starts from a lump, you know, and then because, you know, it's abnormal, it's an abnormal thing in your body, a mass in your body, you really don't want it to be there. It took me about 3 days to, because, of course, I kept thinking about it, and I noticed that it wasn't melting out. And then by the 3rd day, I Googled it, and Google said that lumps in breast could be cancerous or benign. So I decided to stay on the benign side, because I had never had any
You're working on your psychology.
Exactly, you know, I'd never had any serious ailment before in my life. So of course mine couldn't have been cancerous. So I decided to stay on that side. Unfortunately, at that time was when Ebola was in Nigeria. That was in 2014. So of course the hospital was the least place I wanted to go to. I didn't want to even go near the hospital at all. But by the time Nigeria was certified free of Ebola, I went to see my only doctor then, who was a gynecologist and was the one who delivers my babies. And the last time I saw him then was about maybe 8-9 years. You
Before
know,
that time.
Yeah, so, because I hardly fall ill, so I had no reasons going to the hospital. So I went to see him.
That was what you thought?
Yeah, well, that was what I thought. Yeah, I did. Yeah, so I got to him, and then we discovered that he checked it, and then he said to me that it's true that there's a mass there, but I should check it. I should go for a mammogram, but he doesn't think it is cancerous. It looks benign. Of course, it had to be benign in my own thinking. Then I did a mammogram, and the mammogram also said that it was benign, unfortunately, but that I should go remove it, because when you have an abnormal thing like that in your body, you should remove it so that it doesn't. So I did that like a month after, and when I did this, I took the I did it a week here, and I waited for the result. I wasn't expecting any other thing than a good result, that it was benign, and that continued life, just be very, very careful and all that. When Mikio gives you your result, they seal it and ask you to go give it to your doctor. It was a surgeon that had removed the lump. And then, before I could get home that day, I decided that why would anybody give me something that belongs to me and then, you know, cover it up for me to go give it. So I decided to open it. Lo and behold, the result said that it was cancerous. And that was how the whole story started. Of course, it changed my world. It did a lot of things to me. I went into a form of depression and all that. I took it to the surgeon.
Maybe it would have been different if you allowed the doctor to speak to you.
I don't think so. That's not the kind of thing you want to hear, whether from a doctor or from anyone. You don't want to hear a cancer diagnosis. No. There's no way a doctor will tell you that would even make it even better. And then, of course, I got to the doctor, and what he was saying was not even what I wanted to hear. So I left him, and I decided never to come back again. At that point, I decided I was going to travel out of the country and go do a proper treatment because I believed at that time that we had no doctor in Nigeria.
Wow.
If the doctor could look at me and tell me that but unfortunately, how God would have it, I tried everything to travel at that time, and I was rejected. My visa was rejected severally. I tried severally, and I stayed for like a whole year. By the end of a year, I'd removed the lump. This lump came back.
Wow.
The same spot.
After the first surgery?
I'd removed it, yes. And then the doctor was, his message was not favorable. And I decided I was going to leave Nigeria. And I tried leaving, and I couldn't leave. And then a year after...
was it trying to leave an issue of total relocation, or it was just go for treatment and come back? Go for treatment,
yeah. Go for treatment, because I was just so sure. Why would anybody... I had never been ill before in my life. So why would I... If I'm going to fall ill, why would it be cancer? Why death? Because cancer was believed at that time to be,
a death sentence.
A death sentence.
But meanwhile, it is not anyway.
Well, it may not be if you're proactive.
Exactly. That's why it is not a death sentence, because there's a window. So how did you fight it, and how did you get to that level where it is all behind now? It is all history now.
Thank you. After the 1 year, I still... Okay, I said I went into depression. After a while, I got myself out of depression because everybody around me was not thinking of cancer. Everyone around me, I was the only one that was thinking of cancer. And, so I thought to get myself out of this, and I did get myself out, and I tried everything to make myself happy. I would go to parties. Before you invite me, I would come for your party because I just wanted to
That's a way of getting away from all of that thought.
Out of the thought and all that, so I was making myself happy and all that. I didn't tell anybody aside from my immediate family. So, and I wasn't, at a point, they knew I didn't want to talk about it. When I'm watching the TV and I see anything cancer, I flip quickly. I change the channel. I'm on the newspapers and I see anything cancer. But you know how things work. It's at that time when you don't want to see something that something starts to face you.
You see it everywhere.
Exactly. That's when India is advertising their hospital and asking you for cancer treatment. That's why, different countries and all that,
yes.
So it wasn't something really palatable at all. Now, my family knew then that I was trying to evade the talk about it. And, everybody was careful around me. Eventually, luckily for me, by the following year, I went for a memorial lecture of someone who had died of cancer. I had to go for that lecture because I was the social, secretary of my old school association. And the person that had died
the person is a member?
She was 2 years ahead of us.
Oh, okay.
But she had died. She was a member of the school and all that. So, and I was the one that was passing the messages to every other person. They had passed the message to me. When I saw the message cancer, I flipped, I covered it, and I never opened the mail. But my conscience kept telling me, you better let others know, even if you don't want to go and all that. Eventually, I told them, and I believed in my mind that I wasn't going to go for that program.
Because the thing was still messing with your mind.
Exactly, it was still messing with my mind. By the day of the program, my mind kept telling me, go there, don't go inside, just let people see you outside. They'll tell them that they saw you. They can't say that you didn't come, So I went there with the thought that I wasn't going to go in. But as I got there, because they were my seniors, I hadn't seen them in years. So, of course, but they still had their faces. Exactly. So we recognized one another and we all came together and we were greeting each other and all that. While we were doing that, 4 people came in. There were our old school principal, about 3 other teachers that were very popular back then. We were all married, we were all done with school and all that. So you remember the faces. So those people too were very old, and we hadn't seen them in years. So we decided to walk towards them and then greet them. By the time we got there, I was the only person the principal held by the wrist and said, "You, this little girl, you have grown." And I think I wasn't so close to her when I was in school. And she, how old women are. She held my hand and she didn't leave it. And she kept walking towards the hall where
you didn't want to go.
Where I didn't want to go to. And before I knew it, I wasn't there. But the good thing about the program was that those people organized it so well. They had 4 people, you know, on their panel, on their eye table. They had invited an oncologist from America where I wanted to go for treatment.
That's amazing.
They had invited someone from East Africa, an oncologist too. Then they had brought the professor, head of oncology in Luth. That was the first time I was even going to know that we had an oncology department in Nigeria.
Wow.
Then they had brought the Brecken chairperson, that's Mrs. Akeredolu, the first lady of Ondo State, who was also running. And they all spoke very well about this thing called cancer. But I wasn't interested in any of all they said. I was only interested in the woman that came from America, where I wanted to go to. Where I was hoping to go to get treatment.
Your interest is how to get this thing off your system. Yeah.
I was just so sure that in Nigeria we had no treatment and we had no solution.
Wow.
And then I got up at the end of the thing when they asked people to ask questions. I was the first to get up and I asked the lady from America. And my question was obviously about what I wanted to go and do. But I didn't make it seem as if it was me.
Okay.
I was still living in denial. At the end of the day, I have a media background as well. So as soon as the event was done, I just went to the back where the people on the eye chair were seated, were coming out from, to interview them. But it wasn't about any one of them. It was about the lady from America. Exactly. I needed that contact.
Amazing.
Yeah. So I collected that contact. And all the other contacts that I collected, I almost threw them away that day. But they were all in the same paper, so I didn't bother. After that day, a week after was when I was supposed to go for my next interview at the American Embassy. That time, when I went again, I got a bigger no.
Whoa. It
was a bigger refusal. You know, in fact,
what's the reason for this refusal?
I don't know. Everything was just about me not being able to go to where I was going to get treatment. So I decided to stay. And then immediately, after my interview, I went straight to Luth for the first time in my life. I was born in Lagos. I do not know where Luth is. I just hear about Idiaraba because I've never had any reason to go to Luth. You know, so I went there. On getting there, the first person I called was the head of oncology who came. And luckily for me, he picked up the phone. Luckily for me, he was in the office. Wonderful. Luckily for me, he told me solution. Not that I was interested in staying to, at that time I was just, and you know, you can't believe, this man made me feel so comfortable. He made life so comfortable for me that I didn't know when I started telling him it was me. Immediately he called the female doctor. He's an elderly man, and told the female doctor to check me. And the lady checked me. You know, I told you the lump came back, and I was just watching it. I left it there. The lady inspected me and discovered there was a lump. Now they gave me a different referral to do more, more lab tests, you know, to check and do so many other things. And they did check again, and they found the same thing. It was the same thing, it was cancerous. You know, immediately they had to tell me they won't waste any time on me. In fact, by the time they learned by that time it was almost 2 years, and I wasn't doing any form of treatment.
You were still hoping to get to America. To America.
Exactly. So they started. That was how I started treatment in 2016. And by the time I started treatment, my eyes became open to a lot of all the ills we have in our health sector in Nigeria. It made me realize that Nigeria had no form of treatment for cancer. Yeah. Apart from the doctors that were, of course, that had the expertise, they had no facilities to treat cancer. Wow. At the time that I was doing my treatment, we did chemotherapy. I did chemotherapy, I did radiotherapy, I did surgery, I did all those things. But you know, there were some other things that we, you know, other facilities that we needed to have.
To enhance
for instance, you would always have to do a radiotherapy. And in Nigeria, we had only one machine working. Before then, 8 years before then, before the General Obasanjo, when he was leaving, he bought 8 radiotherapy machines in 8 different federal universities in Nigeria. They all had packed up, and the only one that was working was in Luth. And that one in Luth was always breaking down every time.
Because of maybe the pressure.
Of course, the pressure, because everybody in Nigeria was coming to use it. And you would have to wait and take turns. Sometimes you could book like today and not get it get your treatment until like 3 months after, because there were a lot of people waiting to use it. But God was so good to me. I saw God in everything that I did. I saw God in my treatment. At the time that I got there, you know, I said from the first day the man took to me, and everybody, even all the doctors, thought I was related to him. So everything they had to do for me was fast-tracked. You know, yeah. I was able to get, as soon as I was done with my chemotherapy, I was able to get onto the radiotherapy machine. I was able to do everything because I have a media background. From the day I got into Lud, I was jotting down everything, and I kept seeing series
records of everything.
Oh my God, I saw series of cancer cases and all that, you know, and I was putting down everything. By the time I was done, it was like I was hearing a voice that was telling me, go out there and advocate to people. The government have got to do something about this. The world has got to do something about cancer. We have to put an end to cancer. Because you see, at that period, I believed, and I strongly believed that I was going to survive it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It came from the inside.
It came from the inside.
Great.
And, you know, it made me feel like this is a message for you. This is, God is leaving you or giving you this opportunity to save other people. So you got
treated
in Nigeria?
In Nigeria. All of that is history now.
It is history. It is history. And since that 2016, I started a foundation, and I made sure that every year I would go to Lud. Apart from, you know, other things that we do in the year quarterly, I advocate. You know, we have as much as 1,000 people put together. We give them free health checks. We give them free T-shirts. We do walks. We just try to advocate and encourage people, and then educate Nigerians about cancer, and that if you can capture it early, you're likely to survive it.
Wow, this is amazing. I'm just listening to this as if I'm watching a movie or something.
That's how it looks to me.
Do you, with all the records you have, like you were putting down all of those records, do you think about writing a book or something?
Oh, I started a blog. That was how people got to know about it. As soon as that happened, I started a blog, and I went on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and all that, and I related my story, and I kept relating everything. I was saying everything, and while we were doing that, we were having events and, you know, advocating from time to time and telling the government to please do something about it. Thank God today we now have the radiotherapy machine. We have 3 good ones in Lud, and we have in some other federal, university teaching hospitals now. We do have not everywhere. We're not yet there, but the government has really done a lot of job.
But we're not where we used to be.
Exactly. There's been a lot of improvement.
In all of this, what kind of assistance are you getting? What kind of responses are you getting from the government, you said, or maybe from agencies or from individuals who are saying, we love your story, we've heard your story, and it's very inspiring. That's how to fight cancer. So we will, you know, support you here, or we will be there with you, as the case may be.
I wouldn't lie. One of the things that amazed me was when I started this whole thing, I didn't know how far this would go. A lot of people stood by me.
Amazing.
A lot of organizations organizations would even call me to partner. The government also supported at a point. Yeah, and I have, organizations like Bet Niger have been very wonderful. They have made, what I've been doing very, very easy. And, they are one organization that I really, really respect, because without them, I wouldn't have done so much today. I just said to you that we were giving free T-shirts. So as they supported plus all the other organizations, I wasn't keeping anything. Yeah. I was just making sure that everybody got.
As it comes,
yes, everybody got it. Exactly. Everybody
so on a month like this, where the month is dedicated to breast cancer, what are your plans? What do you have lined up?
Okay, before the end of the year, we're having a program. Okay. That's going to educate people. And this time around,
from America.
Oh yeah! In the past 5 years, I've gone to Prague. Okay. I've gone to Scotland.
Amazing.
Yeah, I've gone to Prague. I've gone to Scotland. I've gone to London. And I've been part of their own works. I've done walks with them. I did one of the walks that you call the moonwalk. This walk is done in the middle of the night. Yeah, unlike the ones we do here.
Not the moonwalk dance.
Yeah, and then everybody goes in bra. Oh. Men, women, they go bra, topless.
It's a symbolism of what.
Exactly. One of them, the story I read was a woman that had cancer. a long time ago when the story of cancer started, and then, you know, I think she died of it, and then her family got up. They were angry that the government wasn't doing anything about it, and they walked braless to the and from there
as a way of protesting.
As a way of protesting, and they got resolved. And from there, they started celebrating, and that was how the moonwalk started, you know. And then, aside that, I've gone for conferences. I've mixed with different people all over the world.
Telling your story to inspire people.
Not only my story, because they're also cancer survivors too. It's a conference, a breast cancer conference, where, you know, you see so many. Breast cancer is the same thing all over the world. It is the same thing all over. It's the same language all over the world. And you're so surprised to see so many beautiful people, intelligent people, who have had cancer in the past and who are strong today, campaigning and advocating and protesting against cancer.
All right, now you're here, and with all of this exposure you've gotten, mingling with people, networking across the world regarding this issue, how do we, or what are the habits on daily basis or the precaution that people need to, because a lot of people need to be aware. You were very enlightened, even at the point where you discovered for the first time, and you were still, no, it can't be me, no, you know, and all of that. But there are so many people in that space who still may not know how these things are.
We have a lot of problems that we need to deal with.
To avoid this?
To avoid cancer. I used to have a doctor who I respect very much, the same professor, is late now, Professor Ajikigbe, He says that cancer is in no respecter of no one, and that it's not preventable, you know. But what you need to do is, apart from eating right and being, you know, trying to be healthy and all of that, you need to check yourself from time to time, so that in case you discover anything, don't see it as a cause. The problems we have in Nigeria are plenty, and it's not just Nigeria alone. It's all mostly the third world countries. We believe that cancer is voodoo. Is an arrow from the village.
Wow.
Do you understand? Yes.
But that's the truth. People still think like that?
Oh, definitely.
Really?
Definitely. Some people don't even want you to talk about it. You talk about it, it's like you have brought, you know, evil to them, and they're like, God forbid, it's not my portion. You know, and while some people, as at today, will still go and sit in the church and we're praying it away.
Instead of going for treatment.
Instead of going for treatment.
See.
So what I tell people today is, if you discover anything, even before you discover it, number one, check yourself regularly. If you discover anything, don't fail to go check yourself. It's all right to, you know, to have a scare. Yes. At the end of the day, you'll be sure what it is, whether it is or not. And the most important, the best thing you can do to yourself is to get it early and start to treat it. Because when it's, you know, gone out of hands, it's even difficult then for doctors to treat. They're just managing it. Yeah, they're just managing it.
Talk to us from the window of family response and family support and all of that. What did you get from your family, and how did they help you stand? Because you mentioned it earlier by passively. I'd like you to talk to us how your family rallied around you and how they understood and how they supported you.
I told you I didn't tell a lot of people.
Yeah.
I told my immediate family, and I didn't expect them to tell any other person. That's the reaction, or that's the attitude of a normal, you know, African lady. You understand? You need it, and because of the myth around it that we believe it's from the village or something. At that time, I was lucky to have cleared my mind of the fact that it's not an attack from anybody.
Yeah, it's not village people.
It's not village people. And if it's village people, I'll deal with you later. Let me deal with myself first. You know, that was my attitude. So my attitude was treating myself. And then at the end of the day, I was able to survive because I had a positive mind and, you know, I kept a positive spirit. Yes. And then your question is that my families. Yeah. So the people I told obviously wanted help. They wanted. Today, I do not regret the fact that I didn't go to America. Because if I had gone, you know, it's just normal. Your family will be more involved, and there's no way they will involve people and let everybody know.
Yeah. As a way of trying to get help.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, we could even mess up the whole thing. But you see, God does not share his glory with anybody when he wants to do anything.
And the point there is, you would have invested so much money for something you would have done just here, because the trip to and fro
No,
and
I
all
guess
of that.
what all that too also was to let us see that we can actually treat cancer here.
Yeah.
And the truth is, you're traveling abroad does not guarantee your survival. Even having the money does not guarantee your survival.
That's true. All right, Tinu Lawal, your story is very inspiring, and I just wish we had more time for us to talk about this and then enlighten people and inspire people out there. But it's a whole long month of creating awareness, so we are going to certainly exactly. So we're going to talk about this again and again and again as a way of inspiring young people and other people out there who should know this thing. Tinu Lawal, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
And I wish you well and health, sound health, all the rest of your life. And I thank you for what you're doing, and I ask you and I urge you to keep it up.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right, we're talking with Tinu Lawal. She is the founder at Tinuke Cancer Foundation. She's a survivor, and she told us a very inspiring story of how she survived it. And this is really touching, and of course, it's inspiring to a lot of people. All right, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we'll be doing this as time goes on, as we go into the month.